Okay, good evening and welcome to another 164 diecast workshop video. I am your host Doug Mount and I am working a next gen 2022 Kurt Busch Toyota Camry and working this nose, right? So I've got this one done and I'm going to work this one back here. But for whatever reason, the nose comes in multiple pieces, and I'm going to show you what I do to put them on, cut them out and put them on. But it is some work. It's not impossible, but it is some work, and I'll show you what I got here. So this is a completed one, and like I've said in my other videos, I think the design is a little off, and so where I think this should be a little bit lower, because this is so high from the front valence to the hood. It's just really high, and I think the decal set's just a little off. Anyways, we'll do our best, and we'll get that on here in this video. Alright, so got that one done, got this one here, and this is what it comes like. It's very weird. The decal set has it, here's your headlights, and your nose, here's your little insert pieces, there's the other insert pieces for the lower part of the grill, here's your top Toyota piece. And what's really crazy is the headlights are cut right at the very tip on this side and on this side over here. And they show up as on the separate decal where the Goodyear logo sits on the side. So having done that one over here, my lesson learned is just leave it in place on the Goodyear, and that will help you line up where the headlight needs to go. So I've left those together on these two pieces, so we'll get these in the water and getting soaked. Okay, now I don't know why these aren't here and this piece in place and these in their place. I have no idea. I don't understand why the designs are done like that. To me, it makes no sense. It just complicates things. So you have more things to cut out, and just a little bit more of a hassle instead of them all being together. Yeah, I don't know why the 2022 designs are like that, but yeah, we'll cut them out and we'll put them in. I got everything else done on the car, just saving this for last. Everything else is pretty self-explanatory, nothing too difficult. The nice thing about at least the example I'm showing you guys, is that the car is actually black. So that helps hide a little bit of the decal here. If you're putting it over a white nose, it's going to show. So you have to. It's just just a little bit more difficult. In this business, you're striving for perfection, but inevitably you're regularly coming up short, and you're trying to I say hide, but you're trying to conceal where those shortcomings are for the best possible finish and appearance of the diecast. So got that little guy cut out. Now this is where it gets a little interesting. Cut out the headlights separately. Oh, we got to cut these out here too. These little insert pieces need to be cut out separately. And I try to put, right side on the right side and left side on the left side in case I get confused somehow. So try to definitely do that, as opposed to just throwing them in the water kind of haphazardly. Then you're like, okay, where does this go? So I try to keep them somewhat together. This is where I'm going to deviate a little bit. So you can see how it has this these openings here. Because this is a black car, I don't need these openings. I don't need them whatsoever. So I'm just going to cut out this top part and chuck it. So cut out the headlights separately. That's a given. Pretty much do that on all the customs. But like, yeah, right here, I'm just going to cut this here, right along here, and there. Now, if the car was white, or, you know, the nose wasn't, the body of the car wasn't black, I'd probably keep that. But I don't think you need it. It's, having done that other one, you know, it's just not really needed. Okay, no need to bore you with cutting this stuff out. I'm just going to cut all these little pieces out and leave this big thing together. So hold on. Okay, so got that cut out, and this is the larger piece that you can see here. Just kind of cut along there and left it like that. One of the little tricks I've been using for the Sunoco little decals, because they're so small, to try to know which is the top side and which is the bottom side. What I do is I leave just a little bit extra on the top, so I know, you know, right there you can see there's a little bit more up here. So that's the top, and I cut right along the bottom. So that's the bottom, and that's how I can tell which is top and which is bottom, because I can barely see what the lettering is. So, yeah. Okay. Alright, so we'll let that sit just for a minute. And then we'll start putting that on. So yeah, so Sam, this is for you. I've got 2 coats of sealer on it. I'm getting ready to put a 3rd coat on it, and then I'll be able to put the dull coat finish on it. One other thing, just when you're building these, I like to build the back side first. Put this piece on here, and let me turn this up just a little bit. Put this piece on first, and then that connects around to the sides right here, and then you know where to put the side tail lights for that. I cut out these lower side skirts separately, and inevitably they're too long, so you have to trim on the front, and then you also have to trim right along this bottom edge here, this little rectangle out, because the body of the car is, you know, it's recessed in there, so you just trim that out there, and then you can lay that right in place, and then everything else, right, just goes in place there. So I really like this this decal set, to be honest, because you have the very clear Kurt Busch name here. It's not the little green signature cursive that you can't even read and you can barely see. I like the bold white lettering, and everything seems to work pretty nice here on the roof. With the 45, it's not oversized. Sometimes it's oversized. Your little double monster decals, and then your little small decal back here fits very nicely on the trunk. You got your Air Jordans on the sides. Try to get those to line up as best as you can. But yeah, it's a really awesome, simple, straightforward paint scheme that you know, Lionel will never make as a monster paint scheme. So yeah, so Sam, that's yours, and this is the one with the die cast body. So this is a metal body, And Sage, this is yours, of course. So, all right, what else do I have going on? Sergio, I've got your two over here that I've got going. AJ Allmendinger 2016s. Isaac, you can see probably yours back here. I got your donor cars spread out across the ones that you've asked for, and so that's that. Chris, I got your donor car, so that's in. I'll make this, for you, and of course I mentioned Sage, yours. I'll be able to make the other monster car that you want as well with the donor that you sent. So that's that. Yeah, so trying to be productive here, Michael. I've got your 10-10-3-4-5 here. Kind of cut it out and getting ready to decal this guy for you. And then I'll be able to send that. And the other one that you wanted, which I put back in the blister pack, the Ryan Vargas TikTok. So, yeah. That one turned out pretty good. Okay, I think these are ready to go on, so let's do it. So yeah, I don't think it's, an overly difficult thing to work these noses, but at the same point, you just have so many little pieces to cut out and make them separate, and they're separate, so it's kind of a pain. So you can see how, I put that in place and then just line up the headlight with it. Like that. I'm not drying them out too much in case I have to adjust them ever so slightly to make them identical. Not bad. This piece is always a little bit of a pain to put in because you've got to get it to stretch across and conform, curve up a little bit. I'll get a little bit of microsol and put that on there. Get that to lay in there nicely. In the meantime, get this piece in here. Kind of tucks in behind it. Come on. Got a piece that came off. This one. Not too concerned about that. It's hard to see anyways. Tuck that in there. Come on. this guy. Alright, and then we get these on the sides, Sunoco's. $23.11 Racing. Come on. Just like a little puzzle almost. And I got all these scraps to clean up. It's going to take the small ones and put them on the big one and then carry it over. Okay. So like I said on that nose, with these silk ink decals, get some microsole. And across here. And that will soften this guy up. And then I'll be able to kind of push that into place once that gets soft. It takes a few minutes for that to happen. So yeah, guys, I think the nose is a pain, that's for sure, but it's not like it's not doable. You know what I mean? You can do it. It's just a little bit more time consuming than the Chevy and the Ford noses. So yeah, that is it. Like I said, I'll let that sink in, and then just kind of push this in. This is a little kind of sticking up a little bit here, and I'll just kind of push that into place and let her dry. So that is it. Let's finish with a verse. So this is verse 24, and the topic is disciple others. 2 Timothy 2:2. And the things that thou hast heard of me among many witnesses, the same commit thou to faithful men, who shall be able to teach others also. So the writer of 2 Timothy was the Apostle Paul, obviously writing to Timothy. And Timothy, he called him like a son in the faith. He was kind of a disciple of Paul, of course, who was a disciple of Christ. So Paul imparted to Timothy an incredible amount of spiritual truth, right? Not only just the Gospels, but he lived with Timothy and walked the walk. And so he says, the things that you have heard of me among many witnesses, and that word among, as you can see, is attested by many witnesses. So it wasn't just Paul and only Paul. It was all of the Christians that Timothy was exposed to were able to attest what Paul said and did was true. and was the correct way of living a life for Christ. So he says to Timothy, you then in turn commit those things that you've learned from me and seen in me, you commit them to faithful men, and then they will be able to teach others also. So there's this generation after generation and passing of the torch from one Christian to the next, a mature Christian teaching an immature Christian, and then they become mature, and then they pass it on, and they teach, and they disciple. And that was the theme, right, is to disciple other people. So as you've learned the gospel, as you've learned the scriptures and how to walk by faith and not by sight, you then bring somebody else under your wings and you teach them. So, all right, guys, God bless you. Thanks for listening, and we will talk to you in the next video out here.